Hi, I'm Georgiana and welcome to the Radiant Woman podcast. Today we will speak about the healing power of forgiveness. The real forgiveness is when you realize there is nothing to forgive, but that requires a certain special state, and I will come to it in a while. We all have lived and went through happy times in our life and not so happy times in our life. In our interactions with other people, we felt sometimes hurt. Many times maybe we took it personal and we came to the conclusion that I'm upset with that person, I maybe need to forgive. This ability to forgive is something that actually it's more a gift to ourselves and our inner peace than something that we have to do for the other one. But there are two levels when we speak about our abilities. Most of the time, most of the people live from the level of their ego. And they put stamps, they have mental interpretations about everything. So when we do that, instead of simply noticing the situation as it is, we will interpret it in a certain way. We will put a mental translation, so to say, to that situation. And this mental judgment will trigger certain emotions which can either make us happy, depending on the interpretation, or can hurt us, can make us feel upset, will trigger something unpleasant in us. The second level that we as human beings, as divine beings, have the possibility to live from is our essence, the true self, the one that we really are. At this level, the true self, the real self, the essence of us in us, this is the place, the level, the structure that never suffers, that sees reality exactly as it is, that accepts reality exactly as it is, and also accepts other people exactly as they are. At this level, that is only harmony, deep sense of inner peace. And also there are no more mental interpretations, because the ego and the mind are not anymore active and present when we live our life from the level of our soul. So we need forgiveness when we have lived from the level of our ego and we have put a mental interpretation to certain situations and people. When we do that, we also need to understand that when somebody did something, because people can behave disharmonious, I don't mean that if you live from the level of your soul, you no longer notice that people can behave in disharmonious manners, can speak in offensive manners, can do acts which are definitely not all right. So I'm not meaning that, but when we come to the conclusion that we have to forgive somebody, we need to offer our forgiveness to somebody, we also need to understand that we don't have to put the equal sign between what the people did and how that person is. So if somebody said something offensive, we have to refrain from putting a mental stamp on that person and say, for example, you are rude, you are impolite, you are some kind of diagnosis. As long as we manage to refrain from judgments, from diagnoses, and we can place ourselves at the level of our heart, spiritual heart, at the level of our soul. First of all, this will grant us healing, because as long as we don't forgive, is analogically speaking as if we just swallowed poison, but we expect the other one to die. It is always our mental interpretation of what people said or did that creates suffering in us. No exceptions. So if we will be honest with ourselves, we will manage eventually to realize that most of the times, all the people in our life, when they said something or did something that we reacted to with hurt or with emotional pain, they didn't mean it. They didn't intend to hurt us. They simply reacted out of unconsciousness. So it's helpful a lot when we realize that the other ones simply react. They also live from their ego and from their pain, emotional pain, so-called pain body, that is simply getting triggered and reacting unconsciously. Have you ever noticed, for example, that in the circle of your friends, there are some people that no matter what, almost no matter what they do, you can't get upset with them. You don't get hurt. You just have so much love and a certain type of relating to them. You never get upset with them. It's all right. What they do, you always have compassion and understanding for them. And others that do things which are way less intrusive or offensive or harmful, when they do it, you can't forgive them because your relationship to them is different. The moment that we have a relationship with another person from the level of our soul, we have understanding, we have compassion, we have enough love in ourselves that we don't take it personal. We don't get upset. We understand why they did it. For example, with me, it works. I've noticed it works every single time. When I understand the mechanisms behind somebody's behavior, I cannot get upset with them because I understand. I understand them. I understand exactly why they do that or why they say that. And I don't take it personal because basically it is not about me. I don't have to make it about me. I don't have to take it personal. I know there are different levels, different degrees. I will not get into details. Some people can do extreme actions and it requires a very high level of consciousness not to take it personal. But most of the time in our daily life, we are not subdued to this type of situations. So usually there are daily life situations in which somebody says or does something that will hit our inner luggage, will hit some sore points, some weak points in our ego. The mind will interpret it and then we will get upset, we will get hurt, and then we will carry these negative emotions which are eating us up from inside as long as we are not able to let it go, to release it, to forgive. And if we are looking at it objectively, those who did something or said something and we reacted with hurt or upset that now we need to forgive, they live happily. They did. Most of them, they don't even realize what was the reaction in us, and it was a reaction. It was not an action. And we carry this emotional pain with us. We think of it day in and day out. We cannot let it go. We cannot sleep. We cannot eat. It affects our daily life. It affects our mental concentration. It affects our entire functioning, just because our mind needs some type of satisfaction. So we need to forgive for our own inner peace, for our own sake, because even neuroscience proved that the power of forgiveness has healing effects. It triggers certain hormones in us that are counteracting the stress hormones, it activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is making us relax and release. It is taking us out of this fight or flight mode, which is creating a lot of inner stress, which is affecting our health, our well-being, our mental capacities, our psychic structure. So we have to make a conscious decision to simply place ourselves as many times as possible to remember our essence, to place ourselves in our essence and let go of this tyranny of our ego and our mind. There are many techniques, mindfulness techniques, meditation, yoga. There are many spiritual traditions which are teaching how we can reach this level, because our true self is beyond suffering, is beyond judgments, is beyond this emotional pain. As long as we identify ourselves with the pain body, the emotional pain body, we simply feed and we create a mental construct, and we feed this subtle structure, which is just a construct, with these negative energies of pain. And if we do it day in and day out, we will create neurological paths in our brain, which simply will trigger certain hormones which are associated with this emotional pain, and it will become like a drug that we are addicted to. So when we manage to forgive, we start remodeling our brain. We start doing other parts in our brain which are connected with inner peace, with well-being, with generosity, kindness, love, compassion. And these will trigger other hormones in our system that will make us feel much better. And through resonance and through repetition will even help our body to heal. There are numerous stories of miraculous healings for people who manage to forgive. When about forgiveness, there are also three persons, sometimes even 4 aspects in the forgiveness process. We need to forgive the other one involved in the situation. We need somehow to forgive the situation itself. We need to forgive ourselves, and also we need to forgive God, the source, whatever you want to call this supreme reality. Because if we just forgive one of the 4, but not the other 3, we will still be somehow tied up to these negative energies that are still in our system. So anytime you notice that some situation or some interaction with a person created upset and emotional pain that requires forgiveness, make sure that in this forgiveness practice that you do, you include all 4 aspects: the other ones, yourself, the situation de facto, and God. When you manage to incorporate all 4 of them, you will release yourself completely from these negative entanglements that are in your system. And you will feel it as a state of release, as a state of ease, a state of deep inner peace, and also even a happiness. You will know that you managed to forgive when your inner state is this state of centeredness, deep peacefulness, compassion, and no mental waves. So a very special state of inner silence. And again, I will repeat, we need to forgive, not for somebody else's sake, for our own sake. Because as long as we don't manage to forgive, we simply carry this internal pain with us, which is affecting only us. is not affecting the other one. Maybe the other one lives in another country and is not even aware of the effects upon us of that specific situation, words, facts, whatever it was involved. With forgiveness comes inner peace. With inner peace comes also harmony. With harmony comes relaxation. With relaxation comes well-being. With well-being comes a higher level of living, a better quality of living. So grant yourself the permission to forgive the other ones, yourself, the situations that you were involved in, and also don't forget at the end to forgive even God.